final day in the Keys on the little bridges, at least for this month. I want to see if I got what it takes to catch a couple of these bigger snapper. Oh, and artificials again. So I've got some slow pitch jigs. I've got the micro crappie jigs. I've got a little of everything. Not committing to one particular method or style for the day, but I know we're going to go light and hopefully catch a couple fish. So let's see. First couple casts, we're going to go these little micro. Oh my goodness, there is like 50 of these eagle rays here. My goodness, that was cool. Oh, there's one. I wonder if you can see him just going that way. What a way to start off the day. I don't want to hook any of those. Okay, maybe they're not in the tubes though. Might be just sitting on that sand flat there. That's cool. We got a fish. We're on. First cast. Little crappie jig. Let's see what it is. It is it's a grunt. What is it? It's a grunt. It's a Key West grunt. No, sorry, white grunt. North Carolina, they get pretty sizable. I don't think they get to those sizes here. What's sizable? Like 15 inches? Good eating fish. Saves plenty a day of bottom fishing. Fish, another fish down there. We're on a grunt hole here. It seems like always on a certain part of the bridge there's a ton of grunts just piled up. This is not what I'm gonna keep for dinner. Not today. Well, if they were big, you'd be keeping them, right? But those are small ones right there. So this is New Year's week. Definitely a lot more people out on the water enjoying themselves. It's good. You know, everybody's got a right to do it, but it's definitely a huge contrast from a week or two ago. And man, today, this trip here, this bridge is crazy clear today. I see lots of stuff from giant rays to seeing a lot of fish down there. It looks like grunts. Oh no. Good, I thought I snagged myself instantly. Gotta put some WD-40 on one of those pedals. It's making that little squeak there. Let's cast into the tube. See what happens. Oh, missed him. Too busy looking down, looking at fish I'm seeing darting along. Looks like mostly grunts out here. It's a grunt. Oh, maybe not. That's a grunt. They seem to like these little jigs I'm throwing. I feel like the grunts do come out quite a bit more at slack tide though. And you know, I'm catching one grunt at a time based on what I'm looking at down at. Looks like there's 1,000 of them around me here. They're structure fish though, you know. Grunts are structure fish. I mean, but I think they like grass more than actual like rocky structure. I feel like the mangrove snapper needs heavier structure than the grunt. Grunts, I think you catch grunts on sand too pretty regularly. I think I see a couple of these rays under me again. I think most of these tubes have a little bit of sand in between the concrete pillars there. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it's like sand in between pillars. Yeah, it looks like this crappie jig might be running down to the end there. This stuff is funny. It seems like in the Keys I'm like kind of always interested in grabbing some of these freshwater lures because it seems like the small profiles are sometimes pretty beneficial around here. These are more grunts. Okay. What I do notice though is, besides getting your jig all tangled up by a 6-inch fish, is the clarity is really clear right now, so it's gonna be hard. Why do I think it's gonna be hard? I think you're gonna have a lot of these fish probably go right back in under those tubes as soon as you get like pretty close to them. So I might have to go to the next bridge over. I don't know. You know, I really want either A, a little bit dirtier water, or B, deeper water. So maybe that outgoing tide's going to help though. Right now I'm on the end of the incoming, and I'll get that switch to the tide. Yeah, hopefully that outgoing is going to be a little bit murkier. This is too clear. It's not very blue though. Usually it is kind of on that bluer side around here on the incoming end of the incoming. It's like that really clear, pretty blue water. But that could be moon and tide. You know, all these things I have no idea about. Got a fish on there? I do. Come on, what is it? It's, ooh, look at that. Pretty fish. Look at that Key West grunt. It's probably worth filleting if you're, you know, a hungry human being. Cook them whole. One of the first videos I did here, I got one of the Sailor's Choices. That guy was pretty good, man. These tubes seem to have quite a few fish in them, though. Getting consistent bites casting into them. But I think a lot of it has to do with the dark water versus the clear water there. You really want to avoid that clear water. Probably not going to get a bite for shite. Starting to hit those grunts have, oh gosh, what did I do? Those grunts, when they hit, then you could definitely tell it's a grunt. They don't really bite. They're just kind of there. There's a few fish that, you know, have a take like that sometimes. While certain fish, there's a really heavy tap. Dink, tink. These grunts don't seem to have that. They sure seem great at pulling down the tail of your lure. Those got to be grunts. Whatever they are, I can't hook them. I mean, there's so many types of fish out here, though. There's puffer fish, there's grunts, there's pork fish, surgeon fish, you name it. All of them will probably pile on some of these really small jigs. And then you got to avoid the 200-pound stingray while you're at it too. Okay. I'm just gonna keep floating down. There's those stingrays again. See them? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, there's a lot. Maybe that might be like over a dozen over there. It's the eagle rays. They're giant. Oh, maybe I should look for a cobia. I don't know if they'd be up shallow, those cobia, what they do in the Keys versus the other. I mean, we got that cobia the other week, right? So I have no idea. I've got no clue what the move is with that. But we're going fishing for crappies, basically. He came off. Whatever that fish was. Okay. Surprised we haven't caught a jack. I'm sure there's a couple of them around somewhere here. Looked at the tide. I think the tides are supposed to be very mild today, so we'll see if that's going to be good or bad. I have a feeling that won't be good. Like, we want a heavy tide for these snappers to bite lures, because we did a couple of videos and was catching snappers. It's pretty close to full moons. Didn't seem like tide mattered that much, but the moon phase was definitely towards full. And yeah, snappers are really hard to get to bite on lures. So I think I'm due for like a day of more reality of like, this is going to be really not easy to get these snappers to bite today. Like, today might be the day that I'm going to finally say, okay, I'm ready to catch more snappers on lures versus kind of coincidentally bumping into them. And then I only get like 1 or 2 tops. Like, this is 6-pound leader on here? 6 pound, right? 1000 series spinning reel. If I hook a jack, this is going to be a terrible idea very quickly. These grunts are great little fun on this, but jacks, yeah, the jacks are going to be a problem. But this will be good for snappers, especially like some 13, 14-inch snapper. I think I just saw a jack dart around. Either way, getting bite. This guy's toast. It's been torn up. You know, if you want to stick with the cream of the crop. So these are made by Strike King. I don't know, I got them for like $3 a pack. I like the trout magnets, crappie magnets a lot. Gulps, oh man, what a bad job I did rigging that, but it won't matter. The Gulps seem to be the best Keys lure so far, in my opinion. Tide turnaround. So we're going to be fishing the outgoing in this video. I think mostly outgoing. Yeah. What's that? Oh, grunt hunt down here too. Well, if you're ever wondering, like, oh, I'm not catching anything anywhere. I guarantee if you want to just catch a lot of fish in any creek system or any saltwater environment, yeah, anywhere on the East Coast, you just show up with little 1/8-ounce jig heads like this and some kind of plastic that looks like this. Northeast, you'll catch scup. Anywhere in Long Island Sound, Carolinas, you'll catch croakers and spots. And hey, you never know, man. You can find a zone where there's some sizable panfish, like, you know, right here I'm catching grunts. Yeah, maybe that Key West grunt wasn't too bad of a size. This is a nicer fish, whatever this is. So, you know, oh no, I feel like that could have been my first mangrove snapper of the day, honestly. But yeah, everywhere you go, you might catch desirable fish with these little light jigs. The thing in the Keys too is, you know, there's a lot of 2 to 5 pound fish that pull really hard and like really light and small jigs, like yellowtail snapper pull like they're really fun fish to catch on light lures. Lane snappers do seem to be the most aggressive. They'll hit some bigger lures, it looks like, with some regularity. But you know, you got stuff like lane snappers, yellowtail snapper, mangrove snapper. All these fish, they fight really hard for their size. All taste good. There's jacks too. Jacks are kind of fun. And we got whatever is on our line here. And that is okay, that's the first mangrove snapper. This is the size I typically catch on lures when I go for those little mangroves. They're usually this big. Oh man, I think I just bent out my hook. That's the typical mangrove snapper I catch. Not very large, but still fun. When you catch those 14s and 15s, man, oh man, that's a different world. Oh, there's some huge chunks of this bridge over here. I never noticed it. Water hasn't been clear enough for me to actually see, like, these are massive zones where this bridge is. Yeah, there's definitely snappers here. Especially on this side of the bridge. I don't know if those are coming out on camera, but there's like slabs of concrete right there. There's probably grouper in there too. Yeah, wow. I'm just noticing all this for the first time right now. Why am I getting so many bad casts in a row into? How'd this little guy swallow that jig so deep? How'd you get that down on the top of your throat there? I almost got you. You'll be okay. Just give me that jig back. I said, hey, your presentation's pretty good. Oh, I rehooked him though. I'm gonna go all the way. You can get your water on the lens now. I'm gonna eat that thing. That's a good presentation you got there, goober. I'm surprised we didn't get a jack yet. Maybe the jacks like it a little murkier. Not too sure. All I know is we just haven't had one of those yet. Gotta put some WD-40 on somewhere here. If I hear it. This key stuff is it's really brutal on tackle. gear, everything. It's fun, love it. But man, in terms of what's going to survive your trip, it's always amazing that like this kayak. The only thing that gave me trouble is my last month I had a rudder break. Electrically, I'm amazed I haven't been stranded by this thing yet somewhere. I mean, I'm cleaning all the connections like every other day with some contact cleaner and just making sure there's no blue fuzzy stuff showing up. So everything's getting cleaned heavily, but this thing has not left me stranded yet, so knock on wood. I mean, it's not like I won't be able to go home unless the conditions are that bad, but yeah, it's been pretty reliable. Thankfully. Oh yeah. Oh, 4 pounds. You're a goober. 6 pound. All right. I thought that was a fun idea, but I don't think that's a good strategy. I think the current's too slow to mess with the slow pitch, honestly. But what we could do, I feel like I want a little more current if I'm going to really try this stuff that I'm using right here. Maybe when that outgoing really gets pumping, we'll see. But right now, barefoot jig. I knew that was going to happen. I kind of had a feeling that was either a jack or a really nice snapper. Either way, I wonder what's the, when it comes to ultralight, I kind of want to figure out like what's the system for the keys. So I feel like if you can find the right balance. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you saw that or heard that. That was one of those rays. Sounded like a car just flew off this bridge. I wonder if that's a spawning thing that they do that. But my original thought there was, first of all, we gotta put some sunblock on her. This part of her legs, feel it burning up immediately. My original thought was, yeah, that would be great, but I think you need like probably 10 pound is the minimum to work with. 10 pound, 1/8 ounce jig. Oh man, I don't know about this knot that I got on here. Let's see. It feels okay. It's a fuzzy blue knot. That's gonna get eaten by a mackerel at some point. Something to these gonna be like, hey, that knot looks pretty tasty. I've only got like 4 gulp shrimps with me because I didn't want to fish gulp shrimps again, but I think I gotta put that on until that outgoing gets ripping. This is 10 pound braid. Might have had some frays on that line too, though. It's very possible. Let's see what this is. Sailor's Choice. Right? That's a Sailor's Choice, yeah. Big eyeball. A lot of these fish have really like just oversized eyeballs on the keys. The barracudas, these snappers, all like massive eyeballs. So that means they probably have really good vision. '20/20 vision. Get some of that sunblock on my hands. See how much that affects this bite. Right, everyone says sunblock is terrible for a... This is a wonderful drift though, man. I'm literally drifting this whole bridge, getting 1 or 2 casts in each tube. And then like boom, I can get to the next tube. Like I said, the only thing I'm disliking is the grease on my hands right now from that sunblock. I think most of these channels are clear and have sand and a straight chute. And a couple of them have what I'm guessing are some broken bridge parts. I'm gonna do this drift down to like where it shallows out. This is all 8 feet. That's pretty good. Seems pretty fishy for now. Didn't get any bites there though. Getting a couple bites. It's interesting is, yeah, no jacks. Wonder where they went. Well, if you're annoyed at me filling up the content with jacks just for watch time, well, I'm gonna have to try my best to do something different with that. It might show up on the outgoing though. But usually I'll still catch them on slack tide too a little bit. Man. There's a couple of fish in there. I feel like those are smaller mangrove snappers though. There's something. I felt bites, but we didn't connect with anything. Is that hook dull? Let me check it. Not sure. So I have what, 3-4 bites? No, it's sharpish. That is the S word. Sharper than the S word. I do want to get a couple of these mangrove snappers, pack them well on ice, and bring them back to North Carolina. I'm going to make the drive in one day, so 3 or 4 for the table to bring home will be nice. If I could do it. You know, that's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do. First really bad cast there, I think. We're gonna hook one of these snapper now, I bet. So I think a lot of these bridges have like little caves in them. There's probably like fish living under the caves, and they'll come out certain parts of the tide, right? Like the pilings have cutouts. All sorts of holes for the snapper to live in. And like they probably don't feed that well when it's ripping hard, is my guess, but when the tide slows down they start to feed pretty well. But you never know, maybe that when the tide's really moving they'll get aggressive again. There's so many types of fish that live in these tubes, right? A few types of snapper. Those grunts. There's probably a couple of Goliath groupers even in here. Obviously there's jacks. A few snook. Okay, we did a full drift on this side. What did we get? 2-3 small mangroves, broke off one really nice fish, and at least a half dozen grunts. Oh, yeah, whatever this is. Mutton? Yeah, little mutton. Muffin snapper. Is that a muffin snapper? Sharpest gill plates in the world. One of the sharpest. Old muffin snapper. Some fish up shallow too, huh? Hey, it's a keeper, but not the keeper I'm after. Gonna take my Gulp shrimp back though. Minimum size is 10 inches, but now I'm greedy, right? I spoiled myself this year in the Keys. I've got myself a couple of those, you know, bunch of 14s and 15-inch mangrove snappers. Now I'm like, nah, they all gotta be big. 15 inches is my new, nah. Around 13 inches, they get decent fillets on them already. 13 is what I'm looking forward to keeping. I think they taste very good too. And all the snappers are excellent at the table. No bites down here though. Yeah, I feel like 4 or 5 feet's already, you're out of it, right? Well, let's try the other side here quick, right? Got one of these goofy crab lures, another mixed result lure, and we got our 6-pound test that's, I guess, too light for what we're trying to do. I wonder if anyone's actively had debris from one of these bridges fall on their kayaks. So, it's an old railroad bridge, right? I don't know. I know a little bit about the history. Somebody can educate me on them. There's a lot of fun books written about the Florida Keys. My father-in-law has a few of them. Yeah, really interesting to read up on it for sure. I wonder what this place was like. Whew, man. The 1940s, 1950s. I mean, it still fishes really well in my opinion, man. I don't think it's not easy to learn and how to, you know, it's definitely, I would say, it is not an easy fishery. Would be one of the tougher fisheries I've tried to mess with. But as soon as you get a couple of things going, it's very rewarding. Like, you're catching fish that are beautiful, pull hard. You know, granted, not everything's a 40-inch fish, but like, I love just going after the snappers for the day with the lures. There's big barracudas if you want to do that, right? So you definitely have a lot of options too. So barracudas, jacks, you know, grouper, offshore. I mean, and your offshore fishery is absurd, probably. What you can end up doing. For me, I just like bouncing these little jigs and hooking all sorts of stuff from, you know, stuff that's 10 inches up to 30-inch plus, right? This is what I like. I like when the tide's just slow enough that I can really work close to these concrete pillars. Trying to get one of these fish to bite at slack here. Is that a grouper? I don't know what this is. It's gonna start pulling any second now though. It's a little grouper. Man, even that little thing, I could tell right away. I was like, hey, he's doing something different than all the rest. Little black grouper. I was like, why is he not moving? Like, he thumped and sat there like a, I don't know, a couple other fish I could think of do that, like an oyster toadfish or something like that. Oh, I saw something fall. Looked like another grouper. It was pretty small though. Definitely came up to look at my lure. I was working it too aggressively. I'm surprised we haven't seen any of the yellow jacks. Jack Crevalle. They left. We had some crazy weather since the last time I did one of these bridge trips, so I mean, yeah. We didn't see a school of like 40 of those eagle rays either last time I did this. There's a lot of them. Might have also been a lot of fishing pressure, you know. I know there are. Sometimes I walk that Long Key Bridge and Channel 2. People keep those Jack Crevalles, so. And the yellow jacks. But the yellow jacks taste good, but I don't know about it. A trash bag's worth being the move for me personally. So, you know, it's been a week or two. New Year's week, Christmas week. There could have been a lot of fishing pressure, and a lot of those jacks being there so aggressive for sure could have been cleared out quickly. I don't know about the snappers getting cleared out that quick because they're very smart fish. I feel like mangrove snappers are hard to wipe out with most normal fishing techniques. You know, live bait. I've seen those mangrove snappers turn their nose at everything, right? From live bait to shrimp. Yeah, when they get moody, those mangrove snappers, they don't want anything either, so. Lots of fish do that. Shut down, mangrove snappers included. Okay. It's not a bad start though. It's been a great time in the Keys, man. If you're watching and you've never gotten yourself an opportunity to just come and fish, it's one of my favorite things now. You know, it's fun. It's a nice family trip too, right? Like, there's like, I usually split it up that 1 week I'm, you know, kind of fishing for myself. A couple weeks rather this year. So I'm doing the fishing thing because that's a lot of fun. And then when the family gets to town, you know, you start going out more. This is the first year I brought fish to restaurants. And that was awesome. I might have mentioned in another video, one of those big mutton snappers I did, we brought it to Lazy Days, and man, I was really impressed how good that was. I got it with a jalapeno crust, cilantro, and they had like Lazy Day style, which is more like with tomato and Parmesan cheese. Anyway, all were really good, man. And yeah, I was really impressed with how good the food was that I brought in that mutton snapper. That was really delicious. I would I'd do that every time I could. It still costs $20 a person, but you get a side, and I think it came with a drink too, like a non-alcoholic beverage. So yeah, that was a good time. Just fishing here is like, this is just such a good time. It's like a windy day. There's not much else I could really commit to. I think there's something back behind that piling. I had 2-3 bites back there. You know, I haven't seen a triple tail here. I've seen everything else. Are triple tail kind of rare in the Keys? I feel like they would live here in pretty good numbers. Like, I'm just thinking about things I haven't seen in the Keys, and triple tail's one of them right now. I've seen a few triggerfish. Not that many of those guys, but yeah, I've seen thinking about the triple tail today. I haven't seen permit. Maybe I'm too clumsy and I'm scaring them. I haven't seen a permit in a little while either. And this year, I have not seen barracuda of size. Like, I'm seeing the little 2-footers, you know, kind of the standard ones on the grass flats. Like, I haven't bumped into 4-foot monsters anywhere. Not on any of the reefs. You know, not too many behind the house. I've only seen like one. Like, usually I'll see a few and maybe hook one or two. This year, no big barracudas at all. So, you know, when you start to read through comments of stuff like, oh, barracudas everywhere, man, a lot of this stuff is seasonal and more selective than you think. Like, you know, those big barracudas might be more April, different time of year they might be on these bridges and everywhere. But, like, right now, there ain't too many large barracudas around. So, you know, that's on you if you like to see them. But, you know, I like to just do something different like that once in a while. Some structure down there. It's kind of fun. But, yeah, it's always surprising when you're like, hey, this barracuda stuff is not as easy as they're cracking it out to be. And the other thing that's not as easy is apparently finding some mangrove snappers right now. Ooh, those are good fish. There he is. I have to say the stereotypical, there he is. I'm sorry. That's something nice. It's a keeper, I know that, but let's pay it forward and let him go, right? He's probably like 12 inches or so. You know, I'm thinking about it, I'm not gonna lie. But as I said, let's pay it forward and let him go. We'll have to keep 5 of those. I don't want to be greedy, but I also want the ones that I'm gonna enjoy at the table. They're one of the few fish I do prefer them on the larger side. So like most fish, you know, I kind of prefer like the big sheepshead. I don't like them. I think the 12 to 14 inch ones are the best to eat. And, you know, drum, striped bass. There's a lot of fish you really want the smaller of them. I'd say one of the few fish I like them kind of in that mid to upper size range. It's like probably like a 16 to 25 inch snapper is really the primo eats, in my opinion. And then the other one is probably the Spanish mackerel. Like a 5-6 pound Spanish mackerel is far better than like a 1 to 2 pounder, like for a variety of preparations. So I guess maybe the real point here is the best tasting fish is probably what's kind of in between the, you know, too large and, you know, already at that 2 to 3 pound plus range. It's not to say you can't make a good meal out of that 12 inch snapper. You definitely can, but you can make an even better meal out of that 16 or 17 inch one, really. That's what I think I'm getting at here. Okay. All right, one keeper. Same old Gulp shrimp. I feel like they're too smart though, man. I feel like all these fish immediately wisen up and they're pretty much, yeah, they know. This Fuego's in trouble, man. I think I'm marking a few too. All right, one more cast in this tube. I mean, that means there's a couple around. It's just saying, hey, can you bite my lure? Ooh, get out. He went right into that. Yeah, you went right into there. I think that's a rock hind. These guys get to a decent size in North Carolina, I think, if you find them. They're part of the grouper family, I believe. Maybe you've heard strawberry grouper? I'm not sure if that's the same fish. But you have to, they're actually, you know, regulated like a grouper. I've eaten like some 13 and 14-inch ones we've caught in North Carolina. Really good. Them and the white grunts do get to larger sizes in the Carolinas. I think there's a couple Cubera snappers on these bridges too. I was fishing 7 Mile a couple of years ago, and I hooked, I think it was a jack, and along with the jack, a couple of Cubera, one Cubera was probably about, I don't know, 20, 25 inches, somewhere around there. Yeah, look at those rods right behind me, man. That was close. I hope that squeaking pedal isn't too bad here. That's really where I think a lot of the snapper live. They just live under these bridge pilings. But I think the snapper, unlike the grouper, have no problem coming out of their holes to eat a bait or two. But they're very presentation specific. While the groupers, yeah, the groupers can sometimes be truly a vacuum cleaner of sorts. Getting hit with that east wind pretty good right now. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen a single blacktip shark either, like this whole trip. Like these bridges have shown me, like, you know, usually I'll see some 3-foot sharks, not the big ones on the little bridges, but I will see sharks. I don't think I've seen a shark this trip on any of these little bridges. This water's really clear today though. Why do the jacks leave, huh? You would think the jacks would be like non-stop year-round fish on a bridge like this. Not year-round, but like, I don't think they're here today. I think we would have seen a few by now. If they were here, we would have caught a few. So jacks leave. That's really interesting. I would not have put money on even the small jack crevalles leaving. Like the yellow jacks are not here anymore. They were here my first 2-3 weeks. Definitely catching quite a few of them. And there was definitely a little bit of variability of how many, but like, yeah, they're not here today. No way. I'm throwing Gulp. I should have been getting them by now. And there's really one concentration of those grunts I've seen so far. But there's a couple deep holes up there where those kayaks are beaching right now that I think have some of those Jackson grunts too. We'll probably have them some of these Jacksons and Grunsons. So tempted to go back to that ultralight rod, but I think I'm going to lose a lot of the fish I want to catch. At least here. You don't have to fish next to the bridges to catch fish, like right under them. But like this is where a lot of the good fish are going to be. It's pretty close to these bridge pilings. Like a good sized snapper, I think we can catch one out here, but I just think your odds of getting one of them are just far greater by fishing the structure. Fishing the tubes, all that stuff, right? Man, the Keys are definitely a place too. After this trip, I've come home with so much less tackle. Man, I went through Zoom, flukes, jig heads, rod tips, lures, everything is breaking. Like, if you are somebody who's accumulated too much fishing tackle throughout your lifetime, right? You've been fishing too hard, too long, or you have a problem of hoarding fishing gear that all the Instagram memes are pointing at you, come to the Keys. You will go through all your life's tackle. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of fish under me here. You'll go through all your life's tackle in probably, I'd say 1 month. You should be out of everything. Between the mackerel biting everything off, the jacks, whatever this fish is. Yeah, you're going to be going through tackle very quickly here. I think those maybe were those grunts again. Something was pulling that down. The groupers. Yeah, you got a lot of big swim baits you don't know what to do with. The groupers will take care of them. I guarantee that. I kind of want to, I got to really put more effort into the grouper going forward. It's like one of those things I haven't done that much of. I think I'd really enjoy it after I figure it out, but I think the grouper do get a lot more pressure than the snapper do for the most part. And I've heard it's really the opening month of May is when the grouper are in the closest. So I'm usually here in December, and I don't know, what have I caught? One black grouper in a few years. That was a keeper. This year I caught a few Goliaths. I got one red grouper I finally pulled the hook on. I've got like just 1 or 2 red groupers of size too. So yeah, I got to definitely change the time of year. I think I'm doing it, at least for close in. And I think that the tacking might have to change a little bit. Put a lot of the light stuff away. I think it's very hard to do both, you know, with the same tackle, the snapper and the grouper. Oh no, I smacked the bridge. Did it break off? No, I just shot it into oblivion. Hate smacking that bridge. Look what it does to your jig. Oh no, it survived. Sometimes it absolutely demolishes it. But yeah, you got those two fish. It's light and day how you're going to fish for them. Like the snapper, you want to go with the lighter tackle for sure to get them to eat artificial, and the grouper are just like light tackles. There's probably just a handful of places you can get away with some light tackle for a grouper. And Rich was giving me a good schooling on them, because I usually end up breaking off the Goliaths, but you know, he really walked me through that. It's really about opening up your bail on them, letting them swim out of the structure. Okay, if this is a snapper, he's going to be awesome. I think he's a jack, finally. I think we found what we're looking for, right? Yeah, it's a jack. First one. Oh, about an hour into fishing, that's my first jack, though. That's pretty good. I'd say that. Wonder where they go. Must have left for that cold front. Maybe there's no bait, they're kind of leaving. Well, like I said, my theory of somebody keeping them all, I don't know. Tide could be important for that too. I've never tried those smaller jacks. I've heard they're okay, but like for some reason, it doesn't really interest me. Set on the snappers. Find the snappers to be, I don't know, a little bit better than sheep's head, I'd say. Yeah, definitely better than sheep's head. Actually, you know what? I'll take it back. The only one I'm not that crazy about, and I know I'm going to get some flack for it, is I don't like the yellowtail that much. I think I really prefer the mangrove, the mutton, maybe the lane even over the yellowtail. I haven't eaten a lane this year though. I remember trying one last year, not really liking it that much. But a couple people who really cook with them Will cooking with clams, he was telling me really have to. My unedited videos are going to be all about food, I guess. It probably takes up the other side of my life, right? I go fishing, right? But I really care about food, apparently. Yeah, Will was saying you got to really cook them at a high temperature just to crisp them up as fast as possible, so they're not mushy. So that makes some sense, though. It's like speckled trout, too. Speckled trout's a little tricky to cook sometimes. I do think specks are pretty decent, but really, they taste a lot better when that water's colder. Like, I don't like to speckled trout in the middle of summertime. I always find that the flavor's not as good. Same thing, drum. Drum is a little weird in warmer months, if you ask me, too. Drum's a type of fish, too, just like striped bass. Depends on the environment. And this tide sure is taking its time to get going. I think we've been fishing on, what, a slow current period for, what, 20, 30 minutes now? Missed something there. It's been a while. We've had almost no current now. I wonder if the cobia end up on these bridges too. That's another one I'm thinking about now. Like, I haven't seen a cobia on these little bridges besides my Bahia Honda sharking. Thank you. I would think they'd come into these areas too, right? Because I know they get them on the Gulf side somewhere. Cobia is one of those fish I really don't know enough about. For some reason, the cobia bug kind of bit me. I'm interested in them, but it's never like really taken over me. Like, some guys get upset in terms of like going fishing. Guys obsess over cobia. It's like that's really their main pursuit. Believe it or not, my favorite fish was the flounder. I think one of my favorite fish is the summer flounder or fluke. If you're up north, southern flounder are fun too, man. You know, North Carolina gets really big flounder. Like, it's a good state for flounder fishing. You know, even we've done all these their closures and games with them, which suck. But I think at the end of the day, I would say, you know, we could, you know, say the southern flounder fishery is in decline, right? If you want to, we could talk about that as I have with other people, way more than me. But North Carolina's flounder season's closed, and you know, compared to other states, it's still pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's that bad. Like, one thing that's different than, you know, between southern flounder and summer flounder, the southern flounder don't get a long break, I'd say, overall. Like, in the winter, this guy thinks I'm absolutely nuts and talking to myself. In the winter, they're pretty much, yeah, they get a little bit of a break, but they're getting beat up all year round. While the summer flounder, sure, you got the draggers and the commercial fleet grabbing them, but from recreational anglers, they get a big break, much longer time period than the southern flounder do. Because just the water's cold and they have such a big migration. You know, that fishery is only really good for like 3-4 months inshore. Hey, there we go. Who is it? It's like a little grouper species, I think. Found the grunt hole again. Grunt hunt. Yeah, the flounder up north, you don't get that. It's not like you get like 8 months to target them. It's really like 3-4 months where that's an easy target inshore. So that bigger break probably helps them. Oh my gosh. Definitely helps them. I think I found my grunt hole again. Yeah, these grunts pull these jigs down. That current's getting going though, so we'll probably switch off to that slow pitch. As soon as that current gets really going, I'll skid jig, whatever you want to call it. So Had to wait for that current to get right. I don't think it'll catch much until this current's really moving. A lot of fish get right on the back of the pilings. A lot of the bigger fish will sit in the current. Got the up current side. It's really three strike zones, right? You got in the current. I'm seeing one of these giant rays go by right now. Yeah. Wonder if that's what I hooked last week. I see more than one. I see two of them down there. 3. I might have been brushing my line right now, actually. They might have been around. The water was just so dirty I couldn't see them. You know. I don't think I had this clear water in any of these trips, honestly. So, I don't know. What are we on? 1 keeper mangrove so far? Maybe 2 are keepers? That's not the worst. Getting this jig pulled down almost every cast now, though. Yeah, I think 1 or 2 now. Yellow jacks at all. These are the grunts, so that piled up right there, I think. And these eagle rays are everywhere, man. They're blasting out. Really hoping I'll hook one of them. Mangrove snapper are smart, man. I think I was discounting how easy that was going to be consistently after that last trip at 7 Mile Bridge. A couple other zones. This guy, give him some room. Fish on shrimp. Doesn't seem like he's killing it. Shrimp on the Carolina rig. Big rod. It's a PDL, I think, yeah. I'd say these days it's 50-50 between the PDLs and the Hobies. See both equal amount, I'd say. I think Old Town's reliability wins for most people. I think a lot of people don't want to be, dealing with stuff breaking on the water. All right, let's see things here. I think we found some jacks here, probably. No current here at all. Weird. It's the way that everything funnels out. This is where we hooked that grouper, I think. There's a ton of fish down here. See that? I don't know what they are. They're sharks, maybe? I don't think they're jacks. I think I would have had one with a bite by now. It could be tarpon. That makes some sense. What's down underneath in those deeper cuts there? This tarpon likes to sit down deep in the middle of the day. Don't move too much. Makes some sense. Could be jacks, but I think those are tarpon sitting in that hole. I hooked tarpon on this bridge before. Those were some really big marks there. This one's so clear, I can see nearly everything. Not good for fishing. Not good for fishing with lures, at least. Get this clear water. This is the clearest of all the trips by far right now. I think it's probably at least 7 feet. Okay. You ain't hooking them away. Yeah, you're only hooking stuff in the structure, man. You ain't hooking anything out here in no man's land. What was that? A mackerel. I think that was a mackerel. Like a jack. Oh gosh, there's a trillion jacks there. I think I found them all. All 1 trillion of them. Only there were look downs. Look downs are way cool. Then I put the crappie jig back on. If there were look downs, I don't think they are. I think these are all the smallest of the small jacks there. That's it. No more gulps. Like I said, we go through everything out here in the Keys. I'm out of gulps, out of jig heads, out of braided line. gonna be interesting what this bite's like when the current picks up. It's gonna be the first time we've been on a few hours of the outgoing. Last time it was a moon tide though, and it was ripping. I do remember that. It's like, am I gonna break a rod? It's definitely a possibility. What is that? More grunts. Send a chunk out, you hook one of those eagle rays. I think they eat like chunk baits and stuff like that. And you know, I really would not want to hook one of those things. I feel like that's very bad etiquette to hook one of the, go after those guys. I'm actually not even sure. They might be protected. It would make sense that they're kind of like a landmark, I don't know, landmark fish necessarily, but I'm sure they're big attraction to a lot of people. We've got the eagle rays, and I think they got the manta rays, and the manta rays are even bigger. The manta rays do get up in the Cape Fear River occasionally in the summertime. But the eagle rays are definitely the most beautiful of all of them, for sure. All right, no bites there. Uh-oh. Except for that fish, apparently. Grouper. Man, I thought that was gonna be a beautiful snapper, actually, but that's still cool. Black grouper. A lot of small snappers, and I think I saw some jacks come up and follow my jig. I don't know what that was. It looked like a tarpon roll. Those are tarpon rolling on the other side of this bridge, yeah, for sure. Looked like they were decent size too. Wouldn't mind hooking into one of those with heavier tackle. So these grunts definitely are the main perpetrators of pulling your jig down the hook, though, I think. Going through this last gulp shrimp, and then, yeah, we'll switch it up. I don't know, I kind of like the faster tides. Like what I got here it was not moving at all. So if you ask me, I feel like you need these fast tides for these fish to start hitting these lures, these keys fish, to get them extra aggressive. It ain't gonna happen when that tide's on the slower side. You're right. The other thing is too, like I fished this, what, 5 minutes now, 10 minutes in this little hole here. We had a little bit flurry of action. Gotta give it a rest though. I think all these fish are getting used to that gulp. The only one left who's gonna eat it every time is the grunt. The grunt's gonna keep eating it. He's like, ah, we got it. It's the only fish down there that doesn't learn. He's like, oh, just keep eating it. Getting hit with some wind here right now too. A lot more grunts when the water's clear. This clear. Okay, let's organize this a little bit. Spilling all the gulp juice. Let's try the other side here. I think I'm all grunted out for the day. These grunts really like that gulp. Put that away for now. Should we try this crazy crab lure? Is this stupid? Let's give it a try. Gotta try it once or twice. I mean, a lot of fish eat crabs out here, we know that. Make sure it's well covered in procure. Weird looking profile. I do remember these sink really well for here, but I tried them in the Cape Fear River for sheepshead and stuff. I wasn't really blown away by what they caught, but I'm gonna try them in different environments. This water's clear, so maybe they'll work. Lots of stuff eats crabs out here, we know that. Got a bite. Alright, this current's starting to rip. Time to change that tactic though. This current is 100% full blast now. Crab lure's getting some bites down here. Not a crazy amount though. like I said, I'm coming down to the end of my tackle. As in, using the stuff I don't have as much left anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, got this crab lures, and it sinks nice, but I don't know. I've only caught a few fish on these things. I've had some decent days with them. I've caught some short mutton snappers a couple of times. That was a nicer bite. So it definitely gets bites. It's just like, so now, so I don't know. I think this is toast though, because what's going on right now is it's spinning. Now it's not. A couple of times it was spinning when I was retrieving it. Like, that spin is probably bad. So I think they're just a little too delicate. Yeah, alright. These crab lures are cool, but you see that did not hold up very long. Alright, let's reevaluate that then. I'm gonna go really light, dangerously light. Not that light, but I'm gonna go down 12. I think 12 is light enough that I shouldn't have a problem breaking fish off too often. At least on this bridge. Like anything, there's always a giant laying around. So we saw some tarpon there. But I want to catch these snappers again. See if I got one last trick before leaving the keys up my sleeve. Get to the tag end in there. 10 feet. 10 feet. Definitely not 10 feet. 4 feet. Thing's done. Alright, I think it's time for the skid jig to make its move. So I was waiting for that current to really get going. It's been a slow start for that. But I think now we're finally headed there. People are calling me. My phone's vibrating. I hear it in there. But I'm fishing that wouldn't be very courteous of me to make this video. Tell you what though, these unedited videos, when I start doing them, I don't look at my phone. It really gives me a lot of concentration on stuff. Like, I'm not, distractions are minimal. Okay, this is a skid jig. Everyone says I fish them wrong. I'm not slow pitch jigging. If you look at this technique from Japan, right? So Japan's got a lot of these micro jigs, whatever you want. And if you look up at this design, this was originally like a casting jig. Right, and it's supposed to be swished along. So maybe it's my fault for putting slow pitch in the titles of videos. That, honestly, okay, you get it, right? Maybe I think a lot of people get it, but somebody just wants to come in and say I'm doing it wrong, no matter what I'm doing. I bet you if I, fish this as a slow pitch only, the one person that knows this jig from Japan would be like, "Oh, that's a skid jig. You're fishing wrong." So you know what I'm saying? So. F it. I don't care. Let's catch fish however they decide to bite. Somebody tells me I'm fishing it wrong and I catch a 24-inch flounder on this jig, right? So like literally that's the video. I catch a 24-inch flounder on this. Oh, you're fishing it wrong. Okay, thanks. I really love that. It tickles me sometimes when worst thing is when you watch too many YouTube videos and then you don't actually go fishing yourself. So you become like a YouTube expert after watching all the other YouTube anglers. Some of it's gimmicky and some of it's legit, right? Okay, this feels like it's working pretty good now. Like I've got, sometimes I was a little worried this might be a little too heavy. I'm wrapping around the tip though. Pretty good. I've broke this rod tip out here. And man, it's been a journey trying to get these things to either not align properly, just not tangle up. I'm hoping the grunts are all on the down current side. Maybe I got something else on the up current side. Definitely getting a lot of bites right now. I also have these Gulp minnows. I'm gonna see if that helps. Tip a couple of those. Ooh, there's something there. I think these are all grunts hitting this jig. This is one of the times that some people were asking about the autopilot and spot lock. Right here I would drop in and hit spot lock. Yeah, you're right. But spot lock doesn't work under these bridges that well. You know? Like this would be an ideal spot lock spot right here. Almost tempted to go lay these rods down on the beach there and come get them. Right home. This way I can fish through these tubes a little better. If I get through those tubes, I'm tempted to. Maybe I'm just gonna throw these rods up on the beat. These other two rods. I don't know. I think the Old Town Predator used to have a spot you could lay the rods down. You know, that's one good thing about the autopilot and like the Pro Angler. They've got a couple of those features that are sometimes nifty. You know, I honestly don't think on this EPDL you could do much else space-wise. I mean, if I was an engineer for Old Town, I'd make like one or two changes or options. But see, the thing is, Old Town will talk to guys like me pretty regularly, which I love. Right? They're really nice when it comes to taking feedback in from some people who fish really hard, like me and other people, right? But the other thing is, you know, the majority of their market is the freshwater guys, which is fine, right? I'm a saltwater angler. I don't know if this tipping with Gulp minnows, you know, it's got these sabiki things on it. So what's a 1-inch Gulp minnow not going to do for you? But the thing I was thinking is, like, you know, they really make these boats for freshwater in mind at the end of the day. I mean, like, if they can make simple things for saltwater guys, it happens, but the kayak market is not for saltwater people. So it's like, we get a bone every now and then, and they value some of us, but, like, you know, the saltwater is kind of more, it's a spectacle, right? It's like, I'll watch a lot of ISU fishing, but doesn't mean I'm going to go fishing like ISU fishing that often. At least this thing's getting bites pretty good now. Let's see what this is. All right. That's what we're hoping to start seeing. That we got a rhyme or reason to one last technique. Because, right, this is the Gulp shrimp, right? Did a video with the Gulp shrimp. Let's do really like the full rest of this one's going to be slow pitch style jigging, right? Style. Short ski. I don't know what kind of Guggen technique I've got here. Something really offensive, right? But I feel like now that this tide's ripping this hard, I and get these mangroves to eat these metal jigs pretty good. Not when it was slow though. It's not going to happen. The question is, where are the larger ones? Down there we had one or two potentially larger ones, you're right. Key West grunt. That's a really pretty fish. Well, at the end of the day, you won't starve to death, I'll tell you that. I know that, right? Hey, where's those yellow jacks, man? Those are like a pretty reliable fish to bump into out here. So I think those rays left. I'm not seeing them anymore. They were, I mean, it's hard to tell on camera. There's like 4 or 5 of those eagle rays. They all were absolute, you know, looked like the hood of my pickup truck, right? I don't see them anymore. They might have just boogied right back into the Atlantic like that. These jigs are kind of cool too. You miss a lot of fish with them though, man. I don't know if I've really talked about that too much in videos in the past. Like these slow pitch jigs, you pull fish, hooks on fish. No, it's a mixed bag. Oh, I hate this grass. It's gonna be annoying. In a second. It's gonna be all gunking up my pedals. It's catching fish in every tube. That's without a doubt. It's definitely catching fish. It hasn't caught anything big yet. Maybe someday, some way. This is Gulp stuff. From what I heard too, if you're concerned about the safety of the fish, I have heard from 1 or 2 sources that it is, number 1, biodegradable, and number 2, it's not toxic to fish. So, because fish are gonna eat that and gobble it up. Oh man, what was that? It was a fish, I saw him. Silvery, it looked like a pompano, or maybe it was a look down, I don't know. Big wide fish. Definitely a different fish that I haven't caught before. Color on it was, yeah, it looked like a pompano or something like that. Maybe it was a small permit even. Spadefish, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of types of fish here. I might have a problem with the current behind me. I might have this. I hope this doesn't turn into a rescue video. I don't think I'll stop recording. If I gotta rescue somebody today, we're just gonna keep it rolling. Well, that current's fast. I don't know. Oh, maybe they hooked one of those eagle rays, I think. You might not know it. It's not as big as you think, man. It's big, but it's not something you want to land. Oh boy, you catch a lot of fish right now. Yeah, these metal jigs, man. Get some. Yeah, they're good on calm fish, but like if I start hooking like bluefish and mackerel, these hooks are rough to deal with. We're definitely putting in piles of grass into our drive right now. Well, maybe not. It's still moving. Runs ferocious today. They must like this greenish clear water. And there's structure everywhere down there. See that? I feel like it's a war of attrition too. You throw this jig down, 20 fish probably show up and investigate your jig, and the first one gets their mouth on it is what you're hooking, and the rest are like, maybe one more time we'll do that, but you know, we're getting wise quick here. We don't want that again. One in the mouth, one in the head. Both are in the head on this one, actually. Also, a unique feature of these sorts of jigs. You got to see like some guys that are just like hooking them nowhere near the mouth with them. You know what it is? They bite them. It's not that they're not going for the jig and you're missing them. It's they're biting the metal, and the hooks are just, I don't know, when they're swinging around, they'll just get them out anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that the fish are missing them per se. It's like Spanish mackerel, right? I always talk about those things. Somehow, it's the only fish I'll 1 out of 3 times just hook somewhere absolutely that makes no sense. Hook them in the butt, hook them in the organs. No, they're getting hooked somewhere weird. Uh-oh. There it is. Just felt my prop go doo-doo-doo. Good gracious, look how much grass I just sucked in there. You gotta be careful though, sometimes there's a man of war or a bridge like I just did there. Okay. All right, sometimes it's all about waiting for this grass to clear from a zone too before. Yeah, this is really a lot of grass. Plenty of seagrass in the Keys, that's for sure. If you're in a fishery that wants seagrass, I'm sure there's different types. I'm not familiar with the type of seagrass here in the Keys because Carolinas, like Pamlico Sound's got some. Cape Fear River does not have any seagrass. Seagrass is definitely makes for some better fishing. But yeah, when you get these tides of this stuff moving through, it's not easy to fish through it. I'm trying to avoid this clump that's headed my way right now. Oh no, what did we do here? We got all this seagrass on our lure. Yep. I'm trying to avoid that. If it gets in the rudder, it's okay. But yeah, this is one of those things the Hobie is just better for. I think the seagrass is in much smaller patches up there. Let me get around this. This way, I don't think I'm going to be able to fish through here very easily. Let me clean it out and then start a new approach on that bridge. Looks like these eddies definitely make the seagrass more problematic. Sometimes the prop will push it off, but it's not that often. More often than not, you're going to have to manually do what I'm about to do right now. That is. Look that up. Come back from fishing, looks like I'm mowing the grass. How are we doing on that lens? Oh, it's not too bad. Well, I'm trying my best here. I know it's not for everybody. I feel like I'm scratching the surface or something. Maybe this isn't the right jig. That Castmaster or something like that is what you need. All sorts of lures you got to use around here. That was a good cast, actually. I'm surprised I didn't hit the bridge with it. Probably better at 7 Mile, these jigs too. There's a lot more current, a lot less grunts. There's more jacks though. Maybe it's not better at 7 Mile. I'm not sure. Honestly, got no clue. All I know is Bahia Honda, you don't want to fish near these pilings. Even like 8 feet of water, you can get sharked there, man. I've gotten sharked very shallow there. I have not gotten sharked on these little bridges, though. I'm sure it happens, but it hasn't happened to me, thankfully. Well, it's interesting. The jacks do leave. That was something I would have never put money on. The jack crevalles would kind of dip out for a little while. That's something nice, is it? Right. These metal jigs definitely shine in the current, though. But like anything, it's one per piling and got to move, I think. Never really tried these jigging out on the ocean side too much here. Notice there's not that much current here on the ocean. This might be a jack. That hit way too quick. But let's see if I eat some words on that. Oh no. Oh, that's a bar jack. Well, when he spit out, I shot my gulp across the universe there. That's a bar jack. They're a pretty fish too. I don't know how big they get. We're catching something that looked kind of similar to these in Panama, I remember. Some Guggen ass. Some people do it, man. I'm not the only idiot doing that. Like, this is like definitely a useful hack, is to get that gulp on these jigs. Said I want to make sure I go home with no tackle. Definitely working on that pretty good right now. We'll be out of gulp. We'll be out of jig heads. We're almost there. I want the car to be less, have less stuff in it on the way home. It's always nice coming home with less than more. Creates the illusion you didn't spend any money on shopping and food. Like, if I'm coming home with less, it's like, well, that's good. That means I went through all my gear. Bar jacks don't seem to pile up quite like the yellow jacks do, though. I noticed that. I'm catching a few in spots, but not that many. I think those guys hooked one of those rays. They're way out in the Gulf, out in the Atlantic side now. I really think they hooked one of them. Why else would they be all the way out there? Hope they won't have a problem getting back. It's a long journey with a paddle kayak. I'm actually really surprised how well these jigs stay out of the areas of structure too, because I haven't lost a single jig. Rock hind is cool looking. I need my pliers for you? I might. Yeah, that's part of the grouper family though. Try to take good care of them. I don't know if they get big here like they do in the Carolinas though. Strawberry groupers. Anything that color, tastes really good. The good eat stereotype definitely applies to it. Okay. It's probably going to finish out this part of the drift, and what I think I'm going to do is shoot out to the other side of the bridge and work my way back up with this jig again. Seemed like it caught the fish pretty well. I mean, it's got to be like this fish sitting there waiting for like a bait fish to come through, right? I would think that'd be like the case. They're going to be on either side of these pilings. And like if that jig comes through, you're going to be like, oh, don't mind if I do. A couple small bites just now. This is super awkward. This catches a lot of fish, though. It does too. I think this is not a selective method, though. It's really what I'm taking away, as in, like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna have the easiest time getting the best snappers out of this technique. But it works. Well, that's for sure. All right. Okay, let's float down underneath. One of these days I'll get to use this micro rod for something. Oh no, what did we do here? I forget. I think these guys hooked that ray. And like I said, I hope I don't have to help any. That's a long journey on a paddle kayak. Against that current. Maybe I'm being overbearing. There's a little bit of a sandbar somewhere here, and it's probably the last zone I'll catch anything good. That wind is actually dropping out nicely. Still white capping out there though. Okay, let's give that one last go here. All right. Still, it's a fun day, man. I don't know. I'd try to find something similar to these jigs, though, man. I've used them for a while now. I've had so many interesting catches with them. There's a lot of grass coming out of here. Oh boy. I think I'm screwed. Ran from that other zone to avoid this rock grass, but I think we're gonna get some right now. Maybe if you don't spin the pedals, it's not as bad. Let's see if my theory's right. Like right now, it's going through me, right? It's going through me. Maybe it's just gonna, if I don't spin it and wrap it up, it shouldn't, in theory, wrap up, right? It's definitely not as bad as you'd think. I mean, I'm definitely not moving the speed I want to be, though. Can't do much until this grass moves through here. I think I finally hung up. That's gonna be the first jig I'm losing, isn't it? Got out, I think. We break a hook. Sometimes you break the hooks on or something like that. I did break a hook, okay. So let's take this off. Fix the hook at home. I can fix a hook. We're not fixing a hook. These are the things that don't make it into an edited video. How terrible I am with the English language is the primary thing. Oh man. I've got like 4 pounds of grass in my prop right now. Not complaining, I'm not complaining. I'm having a great time, but I'm losing the fishing time. Definitely losing it. Let's try pure gold. That blew away, and I feel terrible. Last thing somebody needs out of me, last thing I need is for one of these little plastic pieces to end up in the ocean. Then I'm going to end up on one of these meme pages about how terrible every influencer is. That I'm not perfect in my current existence. I wasn't born perfect, and perfection is expected. I think that grass actually cleared out in my drive. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not perfect. I really wish I was. Come on. There's got to be a spot or two I can get under here, back under here. Round two. Salty shore skid. Hope this microphone's battery is going to make it, because I don't know if I charged it all the way. I think I did, but so I sometimes post-production, what I have to do with these videos, this microphone sometimes is off sync. It's not 100% there every time. So it does require me to do some post-production stuff. Okay, gosh, this is like freaking snakehead fishing out here today. So much grass. I'm sure you're fishing saltwater somewhere where you've never seen seagrass, and you're just like, oh man, I'd kill to complain like Elias is right now about trying to sludge through grass. When I get home and I see, no grass, or we have the marsh grass, but we don't have like underwater seagrass anywhere. And this stuff is critical for good fishing. Like, it seems like it's really important. So every time I complain about it, I gotta remind myself how important it is and stop complaining about it. Okay. Hey, there we go. Margates. Not Margates, gosh. Sailor's Choice. Sailor's choice. And, did I reverse? Yeah, I'll tell you what. You know, since we're talking more about stuff, I talked about this on my Patreon page too. This kayak has been really good. I said it maybe in the last UNCUT video, but it's really my favorite kayak for saltwater fishing. I mean, there's some applications it's not the best for. I think I really like it for let's go fishing, bring it out, have a good time. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right. You know what that is? That's the pork fish. I like these things so much. Those other kayaks heard me yell yes when I got the pork fish. What a loser. Oh, missed him. Current just went bloop. You saw how I was sitting still there? So my current grabbed me just now. Oh, no bites there. Bites are all happening really close to those pilings now. Oh, I hung up. Playing too close to that. I've got to. Some stuff down there, like extra coral or something like that. The thing is, I just cast them into all that grass coming out of there. It's really hard to fish now. West Grunt eating a gold jig. It's gold on gold, right? Gold fish, gold jig. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the verbiage on there. Limit out every time. I don't know, man. That's very I don't know how I feel about that marketing in 2024. I'm not trying to say I'm soft about limiting out, but I don't know. I feel like days of marketing stuff like that. I don't know. I get, limit out. Yeah, I do it too, though. I feel like a little more conscious about going fishing for limiting outs purposes. But that's how it was taught too, man. A lot of people were taught that way. Heck, I know people who can't even go home if they don't limit out. I get to go home because I'm making dumb YouTube. Oh, screw that. I'm making dumb YouTube videos. But, some people can't even go home. You gotta go. You ain't coming home without dinner. Yeah, and I get it. That's definitely a thing in lots of places. So we haven't had a snapper on this side of the bridge. We haven't. Whoa. Smacked everything there. There we go. I had a single yellow jack today. Where is that? What happened to that rod tip again? Have problems with that rod tip again. Alright. It's gonna be an interesting last hour and change, I guess. Final hour. The final countdown. 6. Gulp shrimp. Stock up. Alright, this is where you gotta blast it. This is the worst. I just have that seagrass when I need that speed. Alright, good. Okay. Try and get that gulp up back on here. Oh, that one doesn't have the foil on it, so I might as well go with this one. What? There we go. That's gotta be a jack, right? Oh, no. Awesome, dude. That's the one we want. Yeah. Let's get away from that bridge. All right, well, that worked. Took a while. Okay. This technique seems to work too then. I'm not going to do a selfie of this one. Oh man, look at these teeth are insane on these fish, man, when they get to this size. Yeah, man. I'm all about learning these goofy ways to fish. See how big he is. All right, 16 plus mangrove snapper. Before I get sucked into this bridge current, and get you my half selfie. Let's see if we can do it. All right, 16-inch mangrove. He's coming home. Back to North Carolina with me. With the slow pitch jig. Snagged him in the eyeball with one of those hooks, obviously. Okay. Got a mutton snapper rack from the other day in there. Gotta dispose of that. It's legal, so don't worry. I forgot. Gotta dispose of that later. Whoa. Counts as my possession, right? Gosh, this is bad. Not a good advertisement for Old Town, right? This is worse than most days, though. It's usually not this bad. See, you know, anchoring, it doesn't make enough sense because, you know, it's like one or two fish are piling. You got to move again. I almost thought that was a cubera when I got my first look at it. All right, looks like the gulp and slow pitch. Especially my biggest one from this bridge. Wonder if there's any drum on any of these bridges occasionally. I feel like it's not that far-fetched a red drum would show up here. I feel like it's too far-fetched to get through here and fish properly the rest of this tide. Any of this tide, just casting into grass for sure. I don't even know how to cut through this right now. This is the most of this stuff I've ever seen. All right, let's give it a shot. 1, 2. Okay, good. Got it. little bit of a zone. Hey, maybe it's going to shoot gold on white. Might have been the most important move. What were we on before? Just that glow white. It had some gold in it too. This guy's got a chum bag out. It's probably a more traditional way to do this, not this weird freak show I'm doing. Oh no. I think that's mackerel. Yeah, I saw him. He's cutting up my jig just now. So, a little mackerel cut. Trying to cut through and grab everything. Oh no, I knocked over my tub of Gulp. It's alright. Then we got plenty of Gulp juice in the other jar. Just goes to show you, down current, up current, change it up, change it up. Never the same every time. I had a bite in there, man. It's lonely without the yellow jacks, right? It's a little lonelier without these jacks around. But I do remember complaining that there was catching too many of them the last couple days. I do recall that. I think I prefer the jacks over the grass, though, if I have to really pick the two. Can't even fish through this. That's the problem right now. Everywhere I'm casting, I'm kind of casting into grass. Let's do that. It's tough to do. It's like a never-ending wave of this stuff. Turn my fat kayak around with it. Okay. Gonna do one more drift through where I caught that last big one. I guess as a value product, this stuff is really good. 1-inch minnow. Okay. I'd love to have somebody tell me how many minutes I wasted clearing grass out of my drive today, though. That might be the biggest factor of how many snapper I could have went home with today. You know, it's the amount of downtime I was either A, clearing this grass off my line, and B, getting it out of my prop drive. I think we spent at least 20 minutes doing that. I don't know, maybe not, but it is forcing me to constantly move because I can't stay where I want to stay probably because of that. I think I should have marked the piling. I picked that one off of for the future. But honestly, it seems like it's just really random. There's no magic piling for these snappers, really. It's like, it's all about current. I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised every single one of them has these things. The guys who tell me they dive on these things, they say they're covered in them. And they're just smart and spooky, you know. Oh, I missed them. And that makes sense. I don't think they like to. The water did get a little murkier, so that might be what's helping. If, you know, it's probably like a right touch of murk. Right now I'm not seeing bottom like before. That might help. Like I had 2-3 bites there. That's how I know right away. If I get 2-3 bites, none of them stick. That big one usually doesn't show up after a couple of those bounces. Now that one I hooked with Rich was gigantic though. Like this one, these are what? That was a 16-inch fish. The one I had with Rich, that fish must have been 20 inches plus. Just crazy to think about. I would say to me, mangrove snappers are like crappies, whatever you're from. If you freshwater fish a lot and you really like crappie fishing, I put them in the same category. Like they're really fun pursuit. The big ones are awesome when you find them. If you can find it. So what I'm going to do with these fish, if I get any other pretty nice ones before we wrap up this video, I'm going to probably gut it, put them on ice for the ride home, keep them really well iced. I'll refill ice at my favorite spot, Bucky's. And I kept fish really well iced. Like that mutton snapper I had to keep well iced for a few days. And yeah, it tasted fine. So I'll start doing that more in the future if I'm road tripping. I'm usually kind of cautious about keeping too many fish on the road, but I think I'll just make sure to keep my fish well maintained for a 2-day stretch there. For some reason this current's now. There we go. I think I figured it out. This is not fast here, actually. I wonder if they move up and down these pilings a lot, though. Like, I don't think they might, actually. What a boring video, huh? I haven't seen that tarpon again, though. I was looking for him. It seems like some of this grass has cleared out a little bit. You know, I bet you these are railed with snapper because there's not grunts here. I haven't caught a grunt here in a while. I'm thinking there's like a few really nice sized snapper in this zone. So what I want to do is get my jig up through the chute, I guess you could call it there. Tangle myself good. Nice. But I want to be able, the fact is when I have to face that current and to pedal against it, I'm going to be sucking in grass, and then I've got a dangerous situation on my hands, of course. Breaking off a rod. There we go. tip. That tip's the problem. Okay. Yep, more grass. Exactly how I didn't want it to happen. Got enough juice to go up against it a little bit. Nice. Looks like we're gonna be bumping into this bridge piling. Okay, let's see if we can do this without breaking all our rods right now. We gotta lay them down. All right, enjoy the ride. Sliced my frustration with a knife, right? Can you tell I'm getting frustrated here? I wonder. Because I know there's another big snapper for me there. Let's see how it is down there in some of those deeper areas there. It's not as bad. Feels nice out today, though. So I got next trip down. We got to put a little heavier. Oh God, what a mess I made there. Jeez. Got to put a little heavier line on that. Oh my gosh, look at all this stuff coming out of here now. Wind, wind, wind. Somewhere here, there's got to be a break in it. So the other guy went home. If I didn't catch that snapper, I might have went home already just now too. Not gonna lie. And the porkfish. The snapper and porkfish combination has kept me out longer. To fight all the grass for the next hour and a half. Hopefully it's not going to be that bad. Okay, get over here, fish. Run some of the down current. Down current grunt. I do remember at 7 Mile I caught the biggest one of the day on the down current side though. So both down and up currents are fair game. This was the lesson from that day. Oh boy. See what it is? I did that salt cement, rod cement thing. And I think it's a little sticky and tacky when I fixed that rod tip. And now it grabs my rod tip more frequently. I got the grunt hole going there, that's for sure. try a naked jig there. There's a bunch of grunts here earlier. Let's see how many are there now. Okay. Ooh, nice snapper. I think that's a snapper they got. Maybe it's a grunt. It's hard to tell. I think we're on what, 2 or 3 keeper snappers for the day? That's not too bad. Alright, let's try this guy. Right here. Perfect cast. I'll never ever do that again. Perfect cast ain't worth much when you get the seagrass on it. Weird. Not getting any bites down here. Something going wrong with my jig? No. I'm like, why am I not getting any bites over here? Yeah, sometimes there are fish further back from the bridge too. It's definitely inconsistent. But now that the water murked up a little bit, I'm having a little more confidence in just kind of blind casting, footing and dudding around for a minute. Wonder if they chummed in everything. That's why I couldn't get a bite over there. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't get anything out here, man. It's wild. It's a complicated world out there, right? They gotta very competitive in the Florida Keys. I'm imagining the food chain hierarchy. No hammerhead shark today. I did see that a great white was in the Gulf this week, so. That's always fun, right? Ooh. We didn't get a Goliath today. We got a black grouper, right? Yeah. A couple of those rock hinds too. I think I just heard a tarpon roll behind me. Look at that one, sea turtle. Grunts. Right now, I would give the winner of these Keys trips though to the Gulp shrimp. That's the winner for at least like just catching fish to eat and decent action. This is probably number 2. I would say it's close. You know, I don't know if today was a day like, for example, if there was a lot of jacks. How bad would it be to try to do this? Like today, I think I had 2 jacks, 3 maybe. I mean, pretty much. It's the least amount you could ever expect fishing a Keys bridge happened today in the jack department. Like, these jigs should be catching 500 to 1. Like this? Jack magnet. I don't know. Take it as you will. This hole is the grunt hole, though. It is loaded with grunts today. White grunts, Key West grunts. I didn't pull a snapper out of this hole today. I'm sure they're there, but these guys seem to get to the bait every time. Nearly every time, rather. Okay, let's try one last thing besides, more of the same. I gotta zoom right there. Just a tiny barefoot jig. Got a 4-inch DOA, not a zoom. It's fired into a couple of these spots quick. We're calling it a day. Got a Gulp shrimp. Will not purchase more Gulp shrimp till I return to the Keys in the future. Do I have any Mackinaw, small Mackinaws with me? I don't know. I might have packed a few of those. The grunts love those Mackinaw shads though, man. I'm not gonna lie. Grunt bite. The grunts bite these split tail shads, but I don't hook them very often. I see like they'll fall off. basically replaced the... Yeah, I would say we basically replaced the jacks with the grunts this trip. But, well, I do prefer the grunts over the jacks. If I had to... Who's going to jump on my line constantly? I don't feel like the grunts are a big shark attractant. So maybe get more jacks on a moon tide, though. It could be possible. Yeah, more grunts. Sailor's choice. Oh, power bombed. My bad. No snook, man. The snook did not show himself. Oh my gosh, there's a mountain of grunts under my kayak there. A mountain. One fish replaces another, right? Might be how it works out here in the Keys sometimes. Got him. Oh, ho, ho. Not sure. I think that was a jack. Okay, okay. Okay, last cast with this, then I'm gonna go back to metal jig. This area's covered in those grunts. Maybe some live pilchards would do some work, but the way I'm doing it's gonna work. Definitely a few grouper here, though. I think these are those grunts still there too. Okay, let's wrap it up one more time with that jig. That's it. This guy's gonna go back there. I haven't fished these pilings yet, actually. So, you never know. These are shallower 5 feet. Currents still whipping through it are, though. Might be all you need. Probably needs that fast current, though. I agree with that part. Felt weird. Felt like a piece of coral. Choice of sailor. I wonder why they're called sailor's choice. Probably something to do with their edibility at some point in history. Makes sense to me, right? At some point when you're real hungry in history, sailor's choice makes a little bit more sense then. I don't know, maybe some other reason. It's an interesting name though. We have a fish called pigfish. I believe they're in the grunt family too, by us in North Carolina. They taste great too, but they're usually just way too small to mess with. Super aggressive. Yeah, I figure there's got to be a couple fish somewhere there. Oh, same deal. So maybe getting closer to these pilings here will give me a different critter on the end of my line, but white grunt migration. This current upwelling is pushing so hard I'm going against the current. Look at that. Look at all these little crabs, man. I gotta try these crabs sometime. Wink. They have quite a few different types of crabs here. I'm marking a bunch of fish in this tube though. Man, I got 3/4 of an ounce. I just got swept out of there. Okay, good. Shallow, there's some shallow pilings. This current's fast. Okay, let's see how we do this now. Another round of lay the rod down. Should be able to shoot through here. One of these I should be able to. Hello, baby. Nope. You need that power assist there. Good way to damage your kayak. All right. Last pass. We're going to do it on this side. Got that guy chumming, so stay out of his way. Go runs. Go runs. G runs. North Carolina, Florida. A lot of grunts there. Right, let me go back to where I had those bigger snappers one last time. I think the grass cleared out actually. It looks like it might be starting to. We didn't break any. Did we break a jig off even today? I don't think I did. Like grass back here again. Oh. Uh-oh, I think I see a big pile of it coming. I think that grass cleared out. It's hard to tell if it's going to last forever or is it going to be temporary. Not a big one, just a little one. And a big old blob of current heading my way. Yeah, this is where the assist hooks can be tricky. Okay. One. Thanks, dude. People told me those snappers can live out of the water for a long time. I don't know how delicate they are. Apparently the cuberas especially can, they say, survive a really long time out of the water. See, the best way I'd try to present this if I didn't have this grass situation would be try to cast like this right now and then just skip this whole bridge zone so I can try to stay in a strike zone as long as possible. Let's see if that worked. Not as I hoped it would. These fish aren't going to fall for very far in these conditions either, which is probably a good thing, because you don't want them to get too wise too quick. I do kind of want to throw that split tail again, but it's hard to leave a what I would consider a good thing. But yeah, we're picking up grass. That cast. I can't reinvent the wheel as much as I'd like to. The fishing wheel, rather. think I picked up grass again, man. Negative equity. Probably shows the fish a jig too. You know, like, no, I saw that. I had grass on it before. That was bound to happen eventually, right? I'm gonna lose my first jig. No. Oh, we got it back. Yeah. Oh, no hook stall, nothing like that. Okay. Bites are getting infrequent though. I mean, I'll tell you the truth, I didn't have that many bites over here earlier either, you're right. Seems like they're getting less frequent though. That's why 7 Mile Bridge is awesome though. You got like 7 miles of this to do it on. These smaller bridges, yeah, you can run down them a couple times, but it seems like eventually, no matter what, the bite turns off. 7 miles, sometimes I feel like I've only done like 2 miles of bridge, and I've still got fish every piling. Yeah, the only problem with 7 miles, the minute you run into any jacks or any sizable snappers, you got to worry about the bull shark. He's gonna. Well, last time he wasn't there, but he's usually there. It's interesting the grunts aren't here on this part of the bridge. Right now there isn't much of anything though. Got grass on my jig though, I feel it. I'm getting grass every cast on that. I don't know, man. I wonder. What did I wonder? Lost my train of thought. Oh, I wonder why the yellow jacks aren't. Any of the jacks aren't around, man. I got a really. That's an interesting question, right? Like, this is like. That's a crazy lack of those things. That's it, man. Seemed like this bite got tougher and tougher the minute that grass showed up, though, for me to at least capitalize on. Oh, there's something. Feeding my jig all the way back through that tube. Oh wow, my rod will clear. I honestly thought that my rods wouldn't clear going through these tubes. What a dumbass. I thought I was going to be too tall. Good to know. What an idiot. For some reason I just assumed that maybe not all of this thing. Might eat my words on that before. Assuming they're all the same height is probably a giant mistake. Definitely had a bite in there though. I'm able to clear those. At least that arch. I feel like I've hit the top of these things. Maybe not down the middle. Probably have to be down the middle, that's why. Get my arm up there. Okay, let's get back through there. Okie dokes. One last pass through this one, and we're done. Done fishing the slow pitch at least. Watch me break a rod right now. Nope, we made it. Maybe it's tidal too. So I don't know. Anyone ever tried like chumming with barnacles here in the Keys? Like, not even, just to get life going. Like, will snappers respond to that? Because there's what? You have the mangroves. I'm sure a couple of fish would respond to that. A permit, maybe, even? Is that just like a North Carolina thing and South Carolina thing to use the barnacles for chum for the sheepers? I had a bite in there too. Ooh, there we go. Oh, hold on. When I come back in February, we'll bring her a live well, do the shrimp one too. The only reason I don't want to do the shrimp is, and a live well and a cooler, man, that's so much weight. Because I think with shrimp I'll probably catch some pretty nice sized fish. You just got to get away from the grunts is probably what's going to have to happen. wonder how, like, is it turf wars with these fish? Like, some fish are like, I only stay in this tube. I'm gonna chase you out if you come into my tube. You know? See if we can clear this one now. Yeah, let's clear it. Can't set the hook in this thing too, though. That's for sure. Don't try to do that. Immediately what I learned. A few fish back there. I don't know what they are. Either way, they ain't biting consistently enough for me to do anything about it. Rod tip. Like I said, it's that saltwater cement I think is too sticky. Oh boy, 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 oh boy. Ooh. Shouldn't have gotten comfortable with that. Almost broke that rod. Okay, okay. Let's see. Final countdown. Ba-da-dum-dum. It's really not something you put in your factor, I guess, until you fish the Keys a lot. I guess are the weeds going to really reduce your fishability and or fishing time dramatically? And yeah, like I said, that's not something I really put in my brain until today. Like, wow, I have, had these freaking clumps of weeds on my casts for quite a while today. Not every cast, but every few casts I'm dealing with it, right? Got any other bright ideas to wrap this up on? Well, I think we're going to lay that down. No, I don't want to use that. Jerkbait. I don't think I could get a jerkbait to get in the strike zone is the other problem. I tried that stupid blue crab that lasted about 2 casts. I wouldn't say it's a stupid blue crab, but a little too fragile for all these toothy fish here. someone can make like a 16th ounce jig, a little bit of a heavier hook, that might be good too. Some structure there, I think. Alrighty, that wind's kicking back up now, that's for sure. Just one nice snapper today. The bunch, rather. Got a couple bites there. All right, let's try that deep hole one more time, work it for a minute, see if we get any more good bites out of there. There's definitely a few fish there, so maybe a little bit of luck, we can really pluck through all those grunts and get something else. All right, I learned a lot, as usual. These particular videos are more put them on at work, I guess, but you can get some details if you need them, I think. Yeah, especially you're new into kayak fishing, seeing how I'm working the whole bridge for 4 hours. This isn't the largest bridge in the world. That 7-mile one is even more interesting, how to strategize that, because there's endless strategies. But if you show up on bridges and struggle fishing from a kayak, right here I'm doing it for average size panfish. Then if, like, let's say this was a striper bridge or a drum bridge, I have a totally different strategy. Here it's hit every piling, because every piling can have some fish, etc. Stripers, it's a little different. Stripers, that could be just like 1 or 2 sets of pilings being like kind of magical, like all the fish are concentrated there. That's kind of a normal thing with striped bass. But the keys, it's like, yeah, every piling's fair game. Yeah, sure, there's some deeper cuts that might be more consistently better, but it seems silly to overlook any part of a bridge here and drop your rod in the water for extra bonus points. Every piling can have a couple of really nice fish on them. Boom. Oh, I have the final countdown in my head. There was a show, Arrested Development. I used to like a magician named Gulp. Yeah, I used to be a final countdown was his song, so for some reason I got it in my head. I got a lot of like twitch baits and topwater too, but it's like, where do I throw the topwater on a bridge? Am I gonna really raise anything on a bridge like this with topwater? I don't know. For some reason that doesn't click. Structure, old bridge abutments there. Yeah, it's all old structure. I'm getting hung up on there. That's where I caught my porkfish earlier, right? The most amount of this grass we've seen, right? I don't think any of these other videos I have this much grass coming out of here. That's serious, that's all I know. I wonder if you could tell how windy it is too, because it's blowing 20. I tried a couple of these other uncut videos. One on the ocean. The problem with the ocean stuff is I think I can't concentrate. talking to the camera that long. I think what I need is like a set of like 30, 40 numbers. And eventually I won't be so preoccupied with, is this the right spot? Where am I fishing? And then I could probably craft it to do that stuff more. Because right now I'm still in learning mode. You're always in learning mode, but there's only so much I can do on this bridge before, I don't need to pull out my phone here, my fish finder, whatever. So, the bridge stuff, wow, those fish kind of cleared out of this hole. I'm not seeing the grunts like earlier, no way. Whoa, what happened there? Those guys chumming in all? Oh, that whole school of grunts is chummed in under their boat? Possible. See a couple of fish down here still. No grunt. If it is, it's a giant jack. Okay. We're gonna wrap this up in maybe 10 minutes? Yeah, let's give us 10 more minutes. We'll call it a day. Still a pretty good trip. Yeah, I think the slower current overall though, it's like it's moving today, but I'm not complaining about the tide ripping. I think that has a lot to do with your success rate on those snappers on artificial. That's one thing that's going through my head right now. Is like, I think it's just not having that fast current. Like these snappers are not as aggressive. Maybe the yellow jacks leave on the weak tides too. Maybe, it is too. These little bridges don't seem. I don't see why they would be as consistent with the yellow jacks either. It does make some sense. Like the yellow jacks probably come here for a couple tides, especially the stronger ones, and then they probably leave too. That's the most important thing that I realize. That gulp shrimp is really, really a big deal. Wow, this current's so crazy here. Don't move. I feel like the slightest move is gonna cause me some trouble. But it's only really, I remember the other day I couldn't even get close to these bridge, these openings rather. The current was just too strong to even do that, so it gives you an idea. There we go. Those grunts do taste good, man. Oh no, it's something with teeth actually, I think got me finally. Had like a second pop there. Felt like a mackerel. I got one last idea again. I can't troll. I was thinking about actually just trying to troll the bridge, but that grass is too heavy. Try like one of these Yozuri crystal. I got this guy. It should get down. The only problem is it doesn't cast very well. I'm thinking about maybe power cranking that through a couple of these zones maybe. To get through the biomass of grunts over here. I found a non-grunt. I tried the bridge by Indian Key, like Isla Morada. Oh, there was like, must have been 50,000 jacks this size on that thing. And like 3 tarpon. But I mean, you couldn't fish through those jacks. They just show up no matter what you did. And then there's, you know, light years of boat traffic there. I'm amazed the what's it called too. People tell me they catch bluefish. Like, man, last year I remember somebody telling me they were catching giant, like 8 to 12 pound bluefish here, and then out of nowhere, they showed up on the west coast of Florida, which is very unusual. So first seeing the big blues here is unusual in the Keys, and then having them come around the tip of Florida is also really unusual. First mangrove in a while, huh? That's, you know, I'm not keeping any more this size, but like, if we want to keep track, how many can you catch on artificial? Are these, like, something I forget, is that a 10-inch mangrove? Yeah, that's an 11-inch one. He's 10 and a half. These are good fried whole. You know, you can take the whole snapper and fry them whole. So that's what, 4 keeper snapper probably, maybe 5. Maybe I did have a limit. Just one of an impressive size though. Let me just try one last thing before we call it quits real quick here. One last thing, and then we're out of here. So that worked pretty cool. That was kind of interesting. Like I said, you know, I'm mowing the grass out here today, so I think the day's a little wacky, right? What my final results out of it are. So I do want your advice before we kind of end it all, right? So let's say when I come back here in February, I'm going to have my live well, right? And we'll try doing like 1 or 2 of these with live shrimp. See, these grunts are everywhere, right? The grunts are going to eat the shrimp. So how do I fish this bridge with live shrimp to try to catch some bigger snapper and maybe other fish, but also avoiding the 7,000 grunts that are going to go through 4 dozen? How many live shrimp do I have to show up with? 500? Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but like how much, I'm going to need a lot of shrimp, right? So I can't troll this. This deep diver should get down pretty quick, right? I mean, it's flying in the wind right now is the problem. You see how it's just blown away? This should get down pretty quick, but I'm only going to give it like 2-3 casts. I think I just got to power crank it and hope I get a reaction strike out of something. That's what's going through my head. I can't troll it along the bridge pilings on the other side. So here we go. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I think this isn't going to work immediately. Let's give it a couple more casts. Crankbaits, I'm trying, man. It says try crank. Oh, God. Oh, definitely tangled up. How do you fight through grass with crankbaits here? Just realized that other thing. It's an art I need to learn. That's not, I don't have this art down. Maybe a sinking twitch bait, like a glide bait might work. This is not gonna work. This needs to get trolled around here. I think that would be the only thing. I guess I could try it. Let me just try it. Let's do one pass trolling and then call it a day and call it a wonderful time in the Keys. Thank you for joining me on my unedited ridiculousness that I've been trying to vlog away with you. Okay, you can check the video's description links, everything used. Oh yeah, I'm trolling here. Okay, it's gonna be hard because I want to keep up some speed. Let's see. Okay, I'm bumping bottom occasionally. I hit weeds though. Yeah. Alright. One of these days I'll figure it out. Got some grass on there. Alright, that Vanford did pretty good today. Put the power handle on it for that slow pitch jig stuff. Let me get out of here. Still had a good time. One big snapper for dinner. That's about it. So we got that big snapper. That's the big one for the day. Just one. We would have had a couple other keepers, so. Lots to learn. Check the video's description links, everything used. Thanks for watching. So you made it to the end, maybe some of you. None of you. I'm glad people are liking this. These kids are having a blast too, just like me. All right, let me get out of here. Got a few. To end that saga on, I like the Gulp shrimp the best. Keep looking though, man. I think those slow pitch jigs, maybe at the bigger bridges. I gotta try them on the reefs a couple times too. But this current's much slower today too. So that's the biggest one out of all these on the little bridge though. I think that's the biggest snapper for sure though. So take that too.